Episode 3. The Stars. Entering the apartment with the others, Nova's eyes widened in surprise. Wow, so many people. Savita likes to throw parties, much to Kagana's, her sister's, displeasure. They live together. I was hoping to arrange a meeting in a more private setting, but Savita wouldn't cancel the event. She did offer us to guest list, though. The honey sandalwood scent tingled in their noses, urging them to step forward into the room. Loud conversations and boisterous, bubbly laughter drowned out the music. I thought the situation in France was no better than Italy, but everyone here looks so carefree. That's encouraging? That's concerning. I'm gonna go with encouraging. Let's see. It's times like these it's important to find ways to take your mind off things. Revolutions are well and good, but we've got to live a little too. Who knows when everything will change? Might be not even happen in our lifetime. It will. Is this a place? Sort of like our underground clubs? I'm no expert on Roman establishments for the others, but I suspect so. Renato, who'd been busy taking in the interior, joined the conversation. I appreciate you letting me come with you, but are you sure I'm allowed to be here? Yes, you are. Ordinaries aren't prohibited from coming here. They just have to be vetted. Most clubs in Rome have changed their policies recently to allow others. For security reasons. That's understandable. Looking around, Nova noticed almost all the guests had marks on their wrists. Oh, they have snacks. And I think those delicious things are samosas. We can split up. Savita is still busy anyway. Great, Nova. Fancy some refreshments? I'm not hungry. You two go ahead. I'll join you later. Sure. Talus gently adjusted the catcher's hair, then took Onyx's hand, and they headed straight for the refreshments. Nova decided to find a cozy corner and do some people watching as they waited to meet the hostess. Others dispersed in different directions. She was hoping to overhear or notice something useful, but those hopes were dashed by her unwillingness to focus on anyone other than Onyx and Talus. Onyx was already telling some story, surrounded by a group of devoted listeners who were all making eyes at her. Talus stood next to her, lightly touching her arm. Nova could approach them, but right now she enjoyed just watching them together. Like your outfit. Like his too. Catching their glances across the room, Nova smiled back. After a while, one of the doors opened and 3 people came out into the living room. 2 incredibly alike, yet very different women were saying goodbye to an important-looking man. It was nice seeing you. The first woman discreetly, or as discreetly as possible, nudged the other one with an elbow. Oh, yes, monsieur, so nice. The man left, the women started arguing. I'm guessing these are the sisters, Savita and Kangana, but which is which? They're coming over. Good evening, you're Nova, right? I'm so sorry I didn't welcome you in your group right away. I was helping a family friend. You have lovely eyes. I've never met a time capture before. No hint of falseness in her smile, a soft blush dancing on her cheeks. Her jewelry made her speech sound like a song, jingling with every graceful movement. Thank you for inviting us. I'm gonna go with, since she's more welcome, open, and joyful, I'm gonna go with Savita. Of course. Yep, okay, I was right, yep. This is my sister, Kangana. Hi there, Prai. Prai is Hindi, darling. The way Kagana winked and smiled left the catcher momentarily flustered, but when she regained her composure, she noted, Your Italian is remarkably good. Italian, English, French, Spanish, Portuguese, in addition to Hindu and Urdu. She glanced at her sister. Did I forget anything? Sanskrit, Oh, yes. Sanskrit. Impressive. It's all thanks to our parents. From the moment we were born, they worked hard to nurture our interest in the sciences and languages. It's good parents. Plus, we were constantly shuffled around Europe because of Dad's diplomatic service. They spent a few more minutes in casual conversation, and Nova took the chance to glance at their wrists. Savita has a mark. The shape is the same as everyone else's, but it doesn't look like a burn. More like a tattoo? Kagana's skin is clean. Turning into her senses, which wasn't that easy, as they were surrounded by others, Nova concluded she is an ordinary. A common occurrence when it comes to twins. Presence chooses one, but not the other. Her gaze lingered on Savita's arm again, which did not escape Kagana's notice. Staring is rude. She's very attentive. Ask about her mark. I mean, it is a tattoo after all. It's just that I've never seen a tattoo instead of a brand. Blushing deeply, Savita clasped her hands in front of and hiding her wrist. Is that what they do in India during initiations? Nope, back home the Magistrum insist on barbaric methods too, even though the governments have been long pushing them to switch to something more humane. Unsuccessfully, of course, but at least our politicians and population mostly support others, which can't be said about people here. But we left India when we were little. Savita was initiated at the Vatican. And they didn't brand her? Dad made arrangements. They wouldn't let me walk around without a mark, but he didn't want his daughter to be burned, so they agreed it could be a tattoo. As she spoke, she avoided the catcher's eye, as if ashamed. It seems like you have a very influential father. Yes, we do. I begged him not to interfere, but he wouldn't listen. He never listens. I don't think I'd say no to getting a tattoo instead of a burn. Everyone says that, but I'm not proud Dad paid some disgusting clergyman just so I could avoid the pain. Besides, it makes me stand out, screams that I'm somehow better, although I was actually just lucky to be born into my family. I know Dad loves us and wants to protect us, but sometimes he gets a bit overbearing with it. Especially when it comes to Savita. Our parents believe her presence was granted by the gods themselves as a reward for diligently following Sadhana in her past life. Sadhana? How do I explain this? They believe that Savita was an exceptionally good girl in her previous life. She meditated, honored, and loved the gods. But I guess she didn't love them enough since she was reincarnated, instead of being released from the samsara. Honestly, Kagana, this again. You know perfectly well that moksha isn't some posthumous reward for good behavior, and... She stopped herself, turning back to the catcher. Don't mind her. She likes getting under my skin. I can see this. Nova glanced at Kagana, noticing there was a different emotion hiding behind that mischievous twinkle in her eyes. Sadness, disappointment, envy? Good call. If their parents believe in Savita being chosen by the gods, maybe Kagana feels inferior to her. Well, that, and I'm sure they treated her like she was, gold spoon, plate, that whole thing, versus their sister. Curious, in most cases, it's others who envy ordinaries. Thank you for sharing your stories. I found it very interesting to hear them. Noticing Savita and Kagana and the Incineration Alliance gathered around them, the sisters introduced themselves to those they didn't know. Renata was the last to join. Savita frowned, leaning back slightly when he came closer. I don't lift curses. You need to see a warlock. Oh, sorry. That's not why I'm here. I'm with them. You didn't mention that your ordinary friend was cursed. We didn't think it mattered. Forgive my manners, but it's just that this energy, it perplexes me. I understand. I'll wait on the balcony. I could use some fresh air anyway. He left without waiting for an answer. Who did this to him? Me. You? Did he do something terrible? It's a long story, Savita. Can we get to what we came here for? Interesting, you don't want to share the story. Maybe they might be able to help. We wouldn't want to take up too much of your time. As far as I can tell, you've got lines forming for you here. Oh, that's an understatement. Savita ignored yet another jab, which it seemed no remark from Kagana could go without. Of course, let's get started. I won't be needing all of you, just one person would be enough. Nova, I suppose. You were the one who saw the chart, right? Yes. Come with me, then. Leading her guests into another room, Savita closed the door behind them. The silence that followed was almost deafening. The sound of conversation and clinking cutlery disappeared in an instant. Have a seat. Nova settled on a cushion next to a low table and took a moment to look around while Savita lit some candles and incense. You seem very attached to your culture. Why not go back to India? I get the impression it's much calmer there. It's much less dangerous back home, yes. But my family's here. I couldn't live so far away from them, especially from Kagana. Understandable. Such a connection should be cherished. I agree. She and I don't have a particularly easy relationship, but we're sisters. I would do anything for her. Yeah, I know that I know that feeling, trust me. Nova closed her eyes, inhaling the smoky scent of sage that surrounded them. When she opened them, Savita was sitting opposite her. Can you show me the projection? Of course. The catcher clasped her hands together and recited the spell. It only took her 2 attempts to get it right. Savita leaned closer, peering into the restless reflection hovering between the hands of the memory's owner. Henry II. After making a few notes on the piece of paper, she nodded, and Nova dismissed the projection. All right then, let's see. Okay. What is your skill? She's got stars that are appearing on her skin. The constellations of her presence flickered across her skin as she gathered information. The catcher could only guess what exactly she was looking for. The person had an unenviable fate. But he died several centuries ago. What knowledge are you hoping to attain? To be honest, we aren't entirely sure. We're looking for something, and this is our only clue. There was some text next to the chart. We are always 3, his love, wife in one house, and the house shall guard. I noticed. My specialty is Jyotisha, Vedic astrology. His natal chart is based on Western principles. I'm familiar with those, but I'm afraid I won't be of much help if you don't even know exactly what you're looking for. Still, I'll try. One wave of her hand, and the chart appeared in the air. Are you familiar with the structure of natal charts? I'd appreciate an explanation. Interesting. Of course, these signs represent the planets. Okay. And these are the zodiac signs. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, okay. Alright. The numbers indicate the position of planets within the constellation. Okay, so how do you decipher this or make predictions? If you're an ordinary interested in astrology, then you either go to others or you look for books that would help you compile and interpret data. Hopefully these books could provide accurate information and not some nonsense. Yeah, 90% of them have nonsense. The Madrasam declared astrology a prohibited discipline ages ago, so searching for adequate materials would certainly take a long time. Which is why you came to me. My gift allows me to feel the positions of the planets and stars. I perform rituals, create natal charts, and then I interpret them. Well, sensitivity to celestial bodies is something any witch can develop. This type of interpretation can't be taught. That's why there aren't that many others with a focus on astrology. But we are not as rare as time captures, of course. Sorry, I think I got carried away. His love and his wife in one house. House. It most likely refers to astrological houses. There are 12 of them in total. They represent different aspects of life, health, relationships, goals, risks. There are many systems, and I don't know which one was used by the person who put together a horoscope. You're making me think too hard. I hate puzzles, but here we go. For example, here this shows that at the time of Henry's birth, Jupiter was in the 6th house in the Libra constellation. It may mean he knew his place in the world and could easily adapt to a variety of situations. What about those of us who don't know our place in the world? But the text doesn't mention any signs or planets. It does, because each star and planet symbolizes something. For example, the sun, vitality, individuality, willpower, creative energy. Okay. In the Western astrology, the position of the sun at the time of their birth determines the person's main zodiac sign. In Joyishta, it's a bit different. Nova squinted, studying the magic lines in front of her. Listen, I've been trying to study this the whole time, and I'm still not making sense of it. Sorry, not sorry. Henry's sun is in the constellation of... Figuring most everything was on the left side of the screen. Let me think for a second. Listen, I have a 1 in 25%. Based on the information we have so far, I'm going to go ahead and go with Aries. Yes! Okay. Yeah, nice. 25%. Also, like I said, a bunch of stuff was on the left side of the screen, so I took a guess on that. So you're saying love and wife are references to planets? Savita nodded. If we're talking about men, Venus can represent the woman he is attracted to, his lover. The wife is the moon. Venus and the moon are in... Oh, God. 6th house, no. I want to say 12th. I also want to say 11th, so it's between the 12th and the 11th house. 9th and 6th are no. I want to say 12th. That's right. Yep, I win a cookie. That makes sense. We were always 3. In the same house, the sun is Henry himself, the moon is his wife, Catherine de Medici, and then his love... Nova paused, thinking until the right name popped into her head. Diane de Poitiers, his official mistress. Savita stopped using her presence, and the natal chart disappeared. That leaves us with the last part. The house shall guard. Astrological houses are an abstract concept. They have no physical embodiment. So this must be something else. I'll tell the others and we'll mull it over. I really hope this leads us somewhere. The 12th house. Thank you so much, Savita. You're welcome. I hope this helped. Nova was about to get up, but Savita stopped her, catching her by the wrists. We finished sooner than I expected. Since you're already here, I can conduct a Joishta session if you like. Take a look at your planets and make a prediction. It could give you a new perspective or help you make important decisions. Oh, thanks for the offer, but there's some information I'm not allowed to disclose. Would this ritual grant you access to something like that? No, I'm not a mind reader, and I won't even remember the prediction after we're done. What? That's an interesting skill. The diamond choice will open access to an exclusive outfit and accessory. Alright. Smiling, Savita got up and walked up to the chest of drawers to find some clothes for the catcher. Here, change into this. I'm going to need to draw some designs on your skin that will make it easier for me to feel the energies of your planets. Nova went behind the screen and did as she asked. The fabric of the outfit turned out to be incredibly soft, like a delicate flower peel. When she returned, Savita was chanting, her hand hovering over a small bowl with some powder. The spell she was reciting sounded nothing like the spells the catcher was used to. Did you create the spell? Yes. I used a modified form of Sanskrit for the words. That's why it must sound unusual to you. She began adding fragrant oils to the powder, turning it into paste. This is henna. The spell adapts its properties to suit my purposes. It's ready. Lie down. Nova lay down on the floor, resting her head on one of the pillows, and Savita knelt next to her. Let's see. Savita put her warm hands on the catcher's shoulders, and Nova felt her presence rushing in and mingling with her own. As I said in Jyoishta, the main sign, Rashi, is not the sun sign. Is it the moon? Yes. The sun indicates personality, ego. It determines the way you present yourself to the world. The moon allows you to look deeper into the subconscious, into the emotions, your fears, dreams, innermost desires. All this comes from the moon. I can feel its affection for you. Her palm slid up and down. Your Rashi is Rishabha Taurus, and I see now. You were born in the Rohini Nakshatra. What does that mean? Nakshatras are constellations. The Rohini is ruled by the moon, which is why I can feel its influence in you so clearly. It leads you. Well, if that's the case. Breaking the contact for a moment, she began drawing intricate patterns on the catcher's skin with the prepared paste, which was absorbed with a faint, almost imperceptible hiss. The sensation was strange, hot, a little ticklish. Nova relaxed and closed her eyes as Savita worked on her fine lines. Great. Don't open your eyes. I'll start the ritual. Are you ready? Yes. Savita put her index finger and middle finger between Nova's eyebrows. Nakshatra, Irshi, Luck. The spell unfolded, a brilliant light piercing the catcher's heart and soul. Her eyes rolled back as she was plunged into utter darkness. A great wise darkness. It didn't frighten or unsettle her. Nova felt as though she had become a star and returned to where she always was meant to be. Home, into the embrace of the cosmos. She didn't know how much time had passed before she returned to reality. The only sound in the room was Savita's deep breathing. Nova sat up carefully and looked around. Savita? Rahu in Scorpio. A fight. Change. Devotion. Varsha Ritu, rain, Mars. Ruling in the 10th house. Fame. Significance. Threat. A decision that can transform the world. The last vowel dragged on, rising higher and higher until Savita doubled over in a coughing fit. The magic drained from her body. Stunned, Nova didn't notice the blood on the witch's fingers right away. Did you get clutched? Do you have some... Savita shook her head, picking up an empty bowl from the table. She spat out the blood and wiped her mouth with the back of her hand. Sorry, I'm fine. Not a clutch, but close. This has happened before when I've had sessions with important people. Important? Savita nodded but didn't elaborate. Getting up, she walked to the dresser, found a vial with a tincture she immediately emptied. Whatever I told you while I was in a trance, remember, the planets and stars do not determine your fate. They only light your way. Everything is up to you. We're done. Okay. Thank you, Savita. Where should I leave this outfit? You can keep it. Oh, and by the way, the markings will disappear on their own, but your skin will remember them. I'll give you a spell so you can bring them back if you want. Nice. Time to find the others. Should I change into the original clothes and take this outfit with me, or wear the rest of the night? Change into the original outfit, figuring how much it cost and how black it was. It was nice. They returned to the living room. Seeing them, Gagana broke away from the conversation with some guests. How did it go? Did you find what you were looking for? I did discover something, yes. Nova glanced around the room looking for familiar faces. Do you know where Onyx and Talus are? The Animorphs. Out on the balcony, I think. Shall I escort you? Yes, please. You notice how slowly my diamonds are going away? Please support the content. Anyway, on the way, Nova stopped by the kitchen, grabbed 3 mugs of mulled wine, a non-alcoholic one for herself, and 2 alcoholic ones for Talus and Onyx. And there. Have fun. She slipped away. Nova took a deep breath, enjoying the freshness and the light, tingling sensation from the hot drinks in her hands. Ah, that is beautiful. Snow was falling from the sky, the wind lifting the delicate flakes as if it wished to delay the moment when they would land and inevitably melt. Savita and Kagana lived in a quiet town not far from Paris. At this hour, lights flickered in a few windows only, revealing fleeting silhouettes inside. The air was filled with the scent of smoldering wood and resin, along with the fragrance of wine, spices. They created a pleasant blend that seemed to carry a shard of winter's essence. The soft glow of the balcony lights created a cozy, peaceful atmosphere, and Nova settled into it completely. Onyx stood by the railing, leaning on her elbows with her phone to her ear. It seemed like whoever she was talking to had launched into a lengthy monologue. Vesperchen. Stop reminding me about that all the time. I'm not an idiot, I told you. I can't right now. When Nova approached Talus, who was standing awkwardly just behind Onyx, he took the mugs from her and, lowering her voice, she asked, "Who's she talking to?" "Her brother, I think. Doesn't sound very good." Didn't even know she had a brother. They walked up to the balustrade and set the mulled wine on it. Onyx acknowledged the catcher with a nod, offering her a fleeting smile, but didn't put it down the phone. After another minute of continuous screaming from the other end of the line, she rolled her eyes. "I have to go. Say hi to Mom." "I'm aware she probably won't remember." "Go f*** yourself, Ito." Ending the call, she gripped the phone so tightly that Nova thought she might either crush it or throw it off the balcony. Exhaling sharply, Onyx shuddered as she kept staring into the space right in front of her. "It's cold, and you don't have to layer on, Nova." Nova frowned, barely recognizing Onyx's voice, but decided her questions could wait. She cast a quick spell over the mulled wine. It's this way. It will keep us warm." "Thank you." She took a big gulp, nearly draining her mug and grimacing slightly at the end. Nova and Talus raised their drinks to their lips as well, taking just enough to warm themselves. A few minutes later, Onyx finally looked at them. Her eyes were glistening. The Animorphics allowed the witch to feel what she was feeling, anger and bitter resentment. "What did he say to you?" "Same thing he always says. When are you coming back? You're useless, you freak." Talus clenched his fists. "How dare he?" Let's forget about it, okay?" "Forget about it? We're worried about you, Onyx, and I know, Nova, I trust you too. More than anyone, but this part of my life, I don't want to think about it when we're together. I don't want it to overshadow the rare moments we get to be alone. Just hug me. It will help me feel better." She didn't have to ask twice. Talus and Nova exchanged worried glances, but opened their arms in invitation. Onyx was physically stronger than both of them, but now she seemed small in their embrace. When a soft purring sound came from her chest, Nova smiled, inhaling the familiar scent, a blend of her two partners' aromas that always brought her peace. A timid silence descended on them. Stroking Onyx's head with one hand and squeezing Talus's hand with the other, Nova thought about how she'd spent her entire life longing for care, and for being able to care about someone else. She still loved her father, still believed that he loved her too, in his own way, but the fact that he, or she, was his daughter had always been a huge secret, known only to Maria Luisa. Cardinal Barone could never protect her openly, recognize her as his child, and she was always afraid of expressing her love for him. And she was just beginning to understand how much it hurt her. And now she had Onyx and Talus sincere, sensitive, attentive, kind. Everything between them was real. The feelings required no explanation, no wounds could silence them, and they didn't need to be earned. And Nova knew they could always count on each other. She was still having a hard time believing how lucky she was. This probably isn't the right moment for this, but who knows when we'll get to spend time alone again, so can we discuss something? They broke the hug, just standing close to each other now. What? Kissing. You're so cute. Oh boy. This is an awkward conversation because it's the three of them. Nova felt her throat go dry. Do you think we could try? He licked his lips as if on purpose. We agreed to take things slow, but I feel like it's been long enough now. Or not. What do you think? I've never been in a situation like this before. Where's the rule? Are there rules for this? Talus went on talking to himself. By that point, Nova looked at Onyx. Recognition, the reflection of her own desire in her eyes, the witch nodded slowly. One thought after another fled her mind, leaving behind only a singular need. A need for them. The tension that was building up this whole time became tangible. Reaching its peak with her silent approval, Onyx stepped forward. In one sharp movement, she pinned Talus against the wall with her whole body and cupped his face, pulling him into a deep kiss. Everything inside the catcher caught on fire. She watched their tongues intertwine. Stunned, Talus was hardly moving, but offered himself for Onyx's greedy touch, his slender neck, shoulders, waist. Nova had never seen anything so mesmerizing. Nova felt that tremulous moan rush through every cell of her body. Judging by the position of Onyx's cat ears, she shared the admiration. The Anamorphix pulled away from Talus's lips, lowering to his neck as she reached out her hand in Nova's direction. Talus flushed, lost in the haze of pleasure, glanced at her from beneath his lowered lashes. Please. She could hardly trust her own legs, but the strength left in them was enough to carry her forward. Without hesitation, she covered Talus's swollen lips with her own, running her hand through his hair, stealing another moan. His taste was like drinking from a cold forest stream after a grueling day. Talus put one hand on her waist, the other on Onyx's shoulder, his fingers trembling, sliding down, but he clung to them both desperately. Nova started kissing his neck. Then, when her cheek grazed Onyx's, they reached for each other. Arching her back, Onyx found her lips, wrapping her tail around Nova's hips. Knowing Talus couldn't take his eyes off them made the catcher dizzy. With a soft sigh conveyed everything Nova couldn't put into words. Talus leaned towards them, joining into the kiss. They bumped cheekbones, foreheads, but none of them cared. Any hint of pain was immediately drowned in the pleasure of this special intimacy. Soon, completely out of breath, they pulled away from each other, listening to the uneven song of the three of their hearts. Noah smiled. I mean, I knew it'd be amazing, but that... Talus ran his thumb over his lower lip, nodding in agreement. I wish we could stay here for 10 years. Forever would be nice, too. They spent some time together, hugging, kissing leisurely before returning to the living room. Too bad we didn't get CGI for that one. I can envision it in my mind. It's kind of nice. Vesper and the others had already gathered. engaged in conversation with Savita and Kangana. I told you there were no good there. Look at those swollen lips. Oh, for the record, I'm terribly jealous of you guys, all three of you. Thank you for eavesdropping / whatever you do. Stop it. Nova, Savita said you found something. Let's head out. We need to discuss everything. Thanks again for your help, Savita. Of course. Good luck. Nice meeting you all. Maybe I'll see you again. We had a great time. Let me know when you make those delicious samosas again. I'd come from Italy just for them. A deal. After saying goodbye, the group left the sister's house. Where was Shin? Yes, Shin wasn't there at the end. My brain's not working anymore. That's me half of the days anymore. The words came out muffled. Onyx spoke then with her nose pressed against the catcher's shoulder. Nova and Talus patted her on the head sympathetically. It's late. Perhaps we should take a break. No. She practically barked without lifting her eyes from the mountain of papers in front of her. The others flinched. It definitely gave them a jolt of energy, albeit an unpleasant one. I understand everyone is tired. I want to say F it and go to sleep. Some sleep too. But unfortunately in our current position, that's not an option. What's the point of this? If we're just banging our heads against a wall. Right. Let's just leave everything to chance. Don't twist my words. I didn't. Vesper interrupted him, getting up from the table with a heavy sigh. Do whatever you want. She scooped up her notes and exited the office, leaving an awkward silence behind. Nova instinctively got up and followed her, but stopped when she saw Shin shaking his head. Give her some time to be alone. She paused, frowning, but sat back down. After all, Shin had known Vesper much longer than her. What now? I say we go to sleep. It's not like we can even find anything when we're this tired. I don't need sleep, so I'm going to stay a little longer. I'll work a bit more too. Exhausted, Nova, Shin, and Onyx left to rest. A few days later. Time passed and the mystery of the 12th house remained unsolved. Nova woke up unreasonably early. The first rays of dawn had only graced the sky, painting it shades of pink and lavender. She tossed and turned for a bit until she finally gave up. Decided to go downstairs to get some water, as it turned out the dining room wasn't empty. Renato, are you unwell? He tore his gaze from the book he had been staring at while sitting at the table and forced a smile. The voices are keeping me awake. It's normal. I'm actually getting used to it. There aren't that many of them here, but some are very persistent. Oh. Nova sat down on a chair next to his. Why are you up so early? I don't know. I woke up and couldn't fall back asleep. Everyone's been so gloomy lately. I take it the search has hit it in. I'm not allowed to talk about it. You don't need to. It's pretty clear from the way you all look. Vesper has barely left her bedroom, and it seems the only thing left. He jerked his head as if trying to dismiss the whispers that tormented him. It seems like the only thing keeping her alive is coffee. That's me every day. Oh, speaking of coffee, sipping. Oh, precious coffee, how you keep me alive. She said she might have to go back to Rome within the next couple of days. Business matters that require her to be there in person. Unlucky. For a moment they fell into silence. The bright chirping of the birds was coming from the half-open window. Too bad you're so busy. And I'm in this state. I would have loved to explore Paris with you. You see the sights, Notre Dame de Paris, l'Opéra Garnier, the Louvre. He nodded at the book he was flipping through before she came downstairs. It was a guide to Paris and its suburbs. Nova took a closer look at the page. Dude, Paris is full of the dead. And if this guy hears the voices of the dead, you would not want to go there, my friend. They even have old blueprints in here. You could probably read all about the history of the most prominent places. I suppose. It's all in French, however, so I was just looking at the pictures. The catcher kept flipping the pages until she came across an article about the Tuileries Garden. We were going to go there for the mission, but we didn't have to in the end. It's very old, this garden, created by the Catherine de Medici, the garden and the palace. The plan for the Tuileries and garden and Druet de Quercia. She frowned at the illustration titled Plan du Palais des Tuileries in Jardins d'après André du Cerceau. Hopefully my French is decent. Something's wrong. There were 12 of them. Yeah, she's looking wide-eyed on this one. I think it's coming in, 12 of what? Zones. 12 zones. Is that a good thing? It's a very, very good thing. I need to wake up Vesper, thank you. I didn't do anything, but you're welcome. Nova waved to Renato and ran off to Vesper's bedroom door. I think that's it. The 12th zone. Shin checked the map again and nodded. A sharp gust of bone-chilling wind made the catcher tremble. She wished she'd dressed warmer. Oh, bro, come on! Excommunicado, directum inquisitum, sumis... You're telling me I didn't dress for shit, but then, you're like... I'm just saying. About to go to my original outfit. No, this is one time I'm tapping out. Is this my choice? Yeah. Current hairstyle. Here's the current ones we could get. A lot of them are free, and then there comes these. Shaggy blonde, shaggy dyed, with rings red. I'm gonna stay with my current hairstyle, no offense. Yes, all good. Let's keep looking. The trio moved on, leaving 2 unconscious guards behind. Visiting the park at night was forbidden, so they did their best to be quiet as possible. It was comforting to know that Onyx was on the lookout nearby and Talus was watching over them from up in the sky. Lucy and Vesper stayed home, doing the more research in case the theory about the gardens wouldn't lead anywhere. I hope the fact that I've never worked with Bay before won't affect our chances of success, if we're even looking in the right place, that is. Vesper got Bay to fly out from Rome. The bodyguard brought the documents for her to sign so that Vesper herself wouldn't have to go back to Italy. When they were fleshing out the plan for this mission, it was decided that Bay would join the team, just in case. Realizing she was distracted, the catcher redirected her attention. The clouds hid the moon, as if intentionally escalating the tension. Every step felt louder and in unstable silence. Suddenly, a silhouette appeared from the corner. Another guard, deal with him. Dropping to one knee, she pressed her palm to the ground, summoning yellow lightning. Look, Itra. The guard didn't even have time to react. Obeying the witch, the magic reached his shoes, rushed up his body. And as he was shaking, Bay came up from behind with a handkerchief soaked in a special tincture. At her signal, Nova released the spell. Bay pressed the handkerchief over the man's nose, and he went limp in her arms in just a second. Dragging him a little further away, Bay dusted herself off and returned to the others. Lightning looks good on you. Nova playfully fluttered her eyelashes in response, and they continued on their way. Catcher, are you going to rewind time? Only as a last resort. It's not safe here. If I enter Fata Morgana and you have to forcibly pull me out, I'll definitely get clutched. Or worse. All three began looking around, having reached the middle of the 12th sector of the garden. Aside from the statues, it's just the ground and the plants here. If Catherine didn't bury the next clue without any markers to indicate the exact location, there's nowhere else to look. Only in them. Or under them. Let's take a look at the woman with the bow and arrows, the woman with the scepter, the man with the lyre. Let's go with the woman and bow and arrows. Looks like Diana, the ancient Roman goddess of the hunt and fertility, and the personification of the moon. Let's take a look at the statues. Oh, okay. We're just gonna go through all of them? Alright. She has a scepter. Vesta, goddess of the family hearth? Okay. Let's take a look at the statues. The man with the lyre. I'm pretty sure this is Apollo, the ancient Roman and ancient Greek god of light. Okay. Do you have any idea? Catching Shannon based blank stares, Nova shrugged. I see. Yeah, no, they're not history buffs. Well, I think we should pay closer attention to Diane, Vesta, Apollo. I'm gonna go with Diana. Obviously, there are two signs on her shoulders, the sun and the moon. This is where we should look. 2 to status. Ayy. Achievement unlocked, Madame Serpent's Mystery. Don't make any mistakes while searching for Catherine de Medici's clue. Ayy! I got an achievement. Woot! Oh, you get diamonds for these? Oh, shit. Wow. Now how do I get the achievement off my screen? There we go. The catcher pressed her palm to the silent stone. Thank God, I've already spent like 600 diamonds in the past day. She pressed her palm to the silent stone. Just that touch alone was enough for her to feel the weight of the sculpture's age. All these centuries, she's just been standing here. While she pondered the fleeting nature of the human existence, which paled in comparison to the perennial marble, Shin and Bei were just already groping Diana, which, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, the things you read, and then it just, I don't know what to tell you. Wherever they could reach. Nova noticed her fingers accidentally touch, which was immediately followed by an electrical charge. Well, better be more careful around me. Bei rolled her eyes, snapping her fingers. She then hurried to touch Shin's neck. He twitched. Ow! Was that my own charge? What? You didn't know I have tattoos that let me absorb spells and fire them back? No, I didn't. Well, now you know. Better be careful around me. I don't forget to turn off your ruins unless you want to get zapped. For the next couple of seconds, they stared into each other's eyes in silence. You guys have a weird way of flirting. Yeah, no. Also, I just noticed in the middle of the screen, every time a text thing pops up, it is a sun and a moon. I just now noticed it. Leave me alone. We were talking about astrology this chapter, so... Shin choked. Bei burst out laughing. Please, flirting. He couldn't handle me. Let's get to work, maybe. Or should we just sit and wait until someone calls the Madrastrum? We're working. Stop grumping. Nova knelt by the base of the statue, tapping it lightly with her knuckles. Naturally, it did nothing to reveal whether anything was hidden inside. No holes, compartments. Diana gazed at the unwanted guest, her white eyes dull, indifferent, and cold. Bei clicked her tongue, circling the goddess from behind. Nova, are you sure this is it? How can I be sure about anything when we're stumbling around in the mess like blind kittens, poking around everywhere, hoping for some luck? I thought this was it, but there's nothing here that would indicate a hiding place, so we're completely... A jarring crack. None of the objects surrounding them could have made such a sound. Nothing but marble. Bay? Bay got up and blew on her fist, then began shaking her hand. Shannon and Nova shifted their eyes from her to the hole at the base of the statue, then back again. She shrugged. Well, now I know that her core magical ability is physical strength. Oh, I could have told you that. She's like the chick from Deadpool. Whispering an apology to the unfortunate Diana, Nova sank to the ground to peer inside the base, her heart thudding in her chest. Oh. There was definitely something there. She couldn't make out what exactly. It was too dark. The catcher reached for it, hearing nothing but her own blood rushing in her ears. Ouch! She hissed in pain. A small cut marked her wrist. The marble shards were sharper than she'd expected. Nova moved away when Bay tapped her on the shoulder. Kneeling down, she reached into the base of the statue and pulled out an object. Is that like a brick? Gold brick? I don't know. I don't know. Is this a cube? Perhaps it opens? Nova reached for the mysterious object, but Bay suddenly jerked, squeezing it tighter and forcing the catcher to take a step back. Bay. She couldn't hear him. Her magic suddenly flared with such intensity that her allies were left breathless. The woman's eyes rolled back and every muscle in her body tensed to the limit. Oh no. It was booby-trapped. Thank the developers. Listen, you guys got 600 diamonds out of me in the past day. Plus, I watch all your things to make sure that, I continue to get some, but yeah. Complete episode. Let's see what we got. 3 sun, 0 moon for once, but 4 status, 1 power presence, and diamonds. Alright, so, without further ado, if you did enjoy the content, please, 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 I can't stress this enough, do like, share, and subscribe. Share the channel with people, share the videos, let them know that such a channel does exist. It's not just, someone tapping and not reading the content. It's reading it, it's voicing it, it's narrating it, it's doing all of it. Also trying to make you guys smile here and there and whatnot, but for the most part, sharing the content and trying to also, cover this legitimately and whatnot. So with that being said, as you can see, episode 4 is on hiatus and will not come out until literally a month from now. Actually, a little over a month, the middle of February. So, right now this is on hiatus, so do keep that in mind. However, I will be covering other things that, we've been doing on this channel. So do keep that in mind. With that being said, again, please make sure to support the channel, especially if you want this content to come out ASAP, as it comes out especially. But it's something that, for RC, it's something that I'm just diving into and delving into and trying to play catch up for the most part, as it was out for a little bit and no one really brought it to my attention. And then I started to cover it a little and you guys, were like, woo, you're going to do this now. But again, trying to make a shift. I guess the best word for it is a paradigm shift of that magnitude and go, more into a different, form of content. It's super hard to do as a content creator. It really is. But this is a discussion for another time. I'm sure some of you are already bored out of your minds or rolling your eyes about this in and of itself. So please do understand, though. It is something that, in order to switch and start covering things more and more and more, it's something that it kind of drags the channel and hurts it. So this is where I need your support to transition through that drag and to support it to get it to where it starts getting some momentum. So do keep that in mind, because without viewers like you, pretty much I'm just a person who's just talking to a void. So once again, thanks for watching. Love your beautiful faces. I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.